Imagine for a moment that you're standing alone on a rugged cliffside, gazing out at a stormy sea where massive waves crash against unyielding rocks below. The wind whips around you, carrying the salty spray that stings your face, and in that instant, you feel the full weight of life's relentless tempests, the kind that come without warning in our later years, eroding the very foundations of our spirit. Perhaps it's the ache of an empty nest, the shadow of a health diagnosis, or the quiet regret of dreams deferred. You built your life like those rocks, solid and enduring, yet even they wear down over time. If you've ever woken up wondering, where has my motivation gone? How do I summon the energy to face another day? Then know this, you're in good company, my friend. Today, as someone who's walked alongside many on this path, I'm here to reveal not just a secret, but profound truth that sustained generations through their darkest hours. It's not about sheer grit or fleeting inspirations. It's a gentle, sustainable art of nurturing your inner flame. Stay with me through this journey, and I'll equip you with timeless tools that can transform how you navigate life's roughest waters. Let's begin. We'll start by delving deeply into first cornerstone, embracing small wins as your steadfast daily anchor in the midst of turmoil. You see, when life throws its curveballs, be it the sudden onset of chronic fatigue, the financial strain of an unexpected retirement adjustment, or the emotional void left by a loved one's passing, it's all too easy to become paralyzed by the enormity of it all. The big goals loom like distant mountains, shrouded in fog, making every step feel futile. But here's the secret I've witnessed time and again. True motivation blooms from the soil of modest achievements. These are the quiet triumphs that whisper, "You can do this," rebuilding your confidence brick by brick. It's about shifting your gaze from the summit to the next foothold. Perhaps starting your day with a nourishing breakfast instead of skipping it, or spending just 10 minutes organizing a cluttered desk. These acts, though seemingly insignificant, create a ripple effect, releasing feel-good chemicals in your brain that fuel further action. Over time, they compound, much like interest in a savings account, turning a trickle of effort into a reservoir of resilience. To bring this to life, let me share the story of Margaret, a 62-year-old widow from a small town in Texas, whose world shattered after losing her husband of 40 years to a prolonged illness. In the early days of her grief, the house felt like a tomb, echoing with memories that once brought joy, but now only amplified her loneliness. Motivation? It was a distant memory. Even rising from bed seemed an insurmountable task. But one crisp autumn morning, Margaret decided to try something small. She brewed a pot of coffee exactly as her husband had liked it. Strong, with a dash of cinnamon, as a tender ritual to honor his presence. That simple act, lasting mere minutes, sparked a subtle shift. Emboldened, she moved on to sorting through one drawer in the kitchen, discarding old recipes that no longer served her. The next day, it was another drawer, then a shelf. These tiny wins accumulated, providing tangible proof of her agency amid chaos. Before long, Margaret found herself volunteering at the local community center, leading a grief support group where her experiences became a lifeline for others. Her journey illustrates profoundly how, by savoring these micro-victories, we reprogram our minds to see possibility rather than defeat. Analyze it further. Each small win reinforces neural pathways of accomplishment, countering the brain's natural negativity bias that amplifies failures. For you, dear listener, start today. Identify one small win, celebrate it fully, and watch how it anchors you through the storm. Moving seamlessly to our second pillar. Leaning on your inner circle, those cherished souls who form the safety net of your life. As we enter our 50s and beyond, our social landscapes can shift, friends relocate, family dynamics evolve, and sometimes isolation creeps in like an uninvited guest, draining our motivational reserves faster than a leaky faucet. The secret here isn't in amassing a crowd, but in intentionally cultivating deep, authentic connections with select few who truly understand and uplift you. This means reaching out not just in crisis, but regularly, sharing your vulnerabilities, listening to theirs, and co-creating a space of mutual encouragement. It's about recognizing that motivation isn't a solo endeavor. It's amplified through empathy and shared wisdom. In practical terms, this could involve scheduling a weekly phone call with a sibling, joining a local book club for seniors, or even confiding in a trusted neighbor over tea. These interactions release oxytocin, the bonding hormone, which combats stress and reignites your sense of belonging. Consider the detailed tale of John, a 55-year-old former engineer from Manchester in the UK, who faced a devastating redundancy after 3 decades in a stable job. The news hit like a thunderbolt. Bills mounted, his sense of identity crumbled, and motivation evaporated, leaving him withdrawn in his modest flat, staring at job listings that blurred through tears of frustration. Rather than succumbing to solitude, John mustered the courage to text an old university mate, suggesting a casual coffee meetup. What started as a hesitant conversation about his layoff evolved into a heartfelt exchange of their own life pivots. His friend had navigated a divorce years prior. Inspired, they formed a small walking group with 2 other acquaintances, meeting thrice weekly along the canal paths. In these sessions, they dissected challenges. John shared his fears of age discrimination in the job market, while others offered insights from their career rebounds. This support network didn't just provide advice. It restored John's belief in his worth, motivating him to refine his CV and pursue freelance consulting gigs in sustainable engineering. Delving deeper into the analysis, such connections foster a phenomenon called social contagion of positivity, where one person's resilience sparks another's, creating a virtuous cycle. For you, reflect on your circle. Who can you lean on today? Initiate that contact and feel the motivational tide turn. Now, let's explore the transformative power of reframing setbacks as veiled opportunities for personal evolution, a mindset shift that's often the hidden gem in sustaining drive. Life's adversities, from mobility limitations to relational strains, can feel like cruel twists of fate, prompting the reflexive question, why me? Yet the secret lies in pivoting to what can this teach me? This reframing activates your prefrontal cortex, the brain center for problem solving, turning passive suffering into active growth. It's not denial. It's strategic optimism, viewing a closed door as a redirection to a better path. Practically, this involves journaling about the potential silver linings, seeking lessons in hindsight, or even consulting inspirational literature to broaden your perspective. Take Sarah, a vibrant 58-year-old grandmother from Sydney, Australia, whose active life, filled with gardening marathons and community fundraisers, was upended by a sudden arthritis diagnosis that stiffened her joints and dimmed her enthusiasm. Initially, the pain and restrictions fueled bitterness. She mourned the loss of her independence, withdrawing from social circles and letting her beloved garden overgrow with weeds. But in a moment of quiet reflection during a doctor's visit, Sarah chose to reframe. This slow down is my invitation to rediscover neglected passions. She began with adaptive tools for lighter gardening, then ventured into watercolor painting, a hobby shelved since her youth due to family demands. Her first clumsy strokes evolved into expressive landscapes shared on a senior art forum online, where she connected with peers facing similar health hurdles. This not only revived her motivation, but blossomed into exhibiting at local galleries, turning her setback into a second-act renaissance. Analyzing this closely, reframing leverages cognitive behavioral principles, interrupting negative thought loops, and fostering adaptive behaviors that sustain long-term motivation. Apply it to your life. The next time a challenge arises, pause, reframe, and uncover the growth waiting within. Building on that, we come to cultivating self-compassion, the gentle art of being your own kindest ally when motivation wanes. In our mature years, self-criticism can intensify, berating ourselves for not bouncing back quickly from a fall or failed plan, which only deepens a motivational drought. The secret? Extend to yourself the empathy you'd freely give a cherished friend. Acknowledge your efforts, forgive imperfections, and speak inwardly with warmth. This practice, rooted in mindfulness, reduces cortisol levels and enhances emotional agility, making room for renewed drive. Simple rituals include daily affirmations like, "I'm navigating this with grace," or treating yourself to a comforting ritual without guilt. Picture Robert, a 65-year-old retiree from sunny California, whose chronic back pain from years of construction work derailed his dreams of an adventurous golden age, hiking trails and traveling cross-country in an RV. The frustration turned inward. He scolded himself for letting his body fail, spiraling into days of inactivity and self-doubt. A turning point came during a therapy session where he learned self-compassion exercises. He started small, each morning, gazing in the mirror and affirming, "You're doing the best you can with what you have." This softened his inner dialogue, motivating him to explore gentle alternatives like chair yoga classes at the community center. There, he not only eased his pain but bonded with fellow participants, eventually co-facilitating sessions that empowered others. Robert's evolution underscores how self-compassion dismantles barriers to motivation, fostering a nurturing internal environment. Probe deeper. Studies show it correlates with higher persistence rates in goals. Embrace it now. Be gentle with yourself and watch motivation flourish. Another layer to this secret is nurturing a practice of gratitude, which acts as a quiet amplifier for motivation in trying times. Amid hardships, it's natural for negativity to dominate, overshadowing the good and sapping our will. But intentionally focusing on appreciations, big or small, rewires your brain toward abundance, boosting dopamine and sustaining drive. This could mean keeping a nightly gratitude journal, noting 3 things you're thankful for, or sharing them aloud with partner. Reflect on Patricia, a 60-year-old teacher from Boston who battled burnout after decades in education, exacerbated by the pandemic's toll. Motivation for her profession evaporated. Lesson plans felt burdensome, and retirement loomed as an escape. She began a gratitude ritual. Each evening, jotting notes like "grateful for a student's smile today" or "thankful for my cozy reading nook." This shifted her focus, reigniting passion for mentoring. She innovated hybrid classes, finding joy in adaptive teaching. Gratitude, as analyzed, creates a positivity buffer against stress. Integrated daily for enduring motivation. We must also address fostering lifelong curiosity, the spark that keeps motivation alive by inviting wonder into routine struggles. As we age, familiarity can breed complacency, but curiosity, asking what if, or exploring new ideas, stimulates neural growth and purpose. Try learning a skill via online courses or podcasts. Think of Thomas, a 68-year-old from London who, post-heart surgery, felt confined and demotivated. He dove into astronomy apps, leading to stargazing nights that restored his zest. Curiosity, per research, enhances engagement. Cultivate it to keep your fire burning. Finally, anchor yourself firmly in purpose, that profound why that outshines fleeting discomforts. Purpose isn't static. It's a compass revisited through reflection, aligning actions with values like legacy or contribution. Elena, a 70-year-old New Yorker, felt purposeless after job loss. Rediscovering mentoring through tutoring kids, she transformed isolation into impact. Purpose, deeply analyzed, provides intrinsic motivation resilient to external blows. Reconnect with yours regularly. As we draw this exploration to a close, pause here with me. Breathe deeply. Let these layers of wisdom settle into your heart. Which strategy calls to you most urgently? A small win to claim, a connection to nurture, a setback to reframe? I invite you to share in the comments. What insight resonated deepest, or how have you sustained motivation in your own trials? Your voices enrich us all. If this has illuminated your path, kindly subscribe for ongoing companionship and growth, and share with those weathering their storms. Thank you for joining this heartfelt dialogue. May your motivation endure,